Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another book review for you, and this one is something of a Bible for me, okay? This is The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. And I came across this book a couple of years ago, and it was actually while I was training in the monastery in Japan, and it had a really big impact on me. And I often listen to podcasts and read articles and stuff now, and so many people, whether they're triathletes or freedivers, people who meditate, distance runners, all kinds of different people, they all mention this book, and they all mention Patrick McKeown. Even Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer, who's a massive name in extreme sports. He has Patrick McKeown on his coaching team and has a lot of respect for Patrick McKeown and the methods that he teaches. So the main things you're going to find out about this book, some of them are actually going to really turn on your head the things that you thought you knew about breathing. So for example, one thing I didn't know is that the desire to breathe is actually from a buildup of CO2 and your sensitivity to that, rather than needing to breathe oxygen. We often think that we're breathing in or gasping for air because we need oxygen, but it's actually because we're just too sensitive to CO2. Another massive revelation that I found in this book was that most people overbreathe. And for social anxiety sufferers like yourself, this is a massive thing, because the way that you breathe feeds into your fight and flight response and can keep you in a state of anxiety. So one thing that's really come through to me in my recent training and study about social anxiety and physiology is that breathing really is the center of everything. So that's why books like this are so important. The main things that you can take away from this book, and which are going to help you, is that as a social anxiety sufferer, you are probably breathing way too much. You're probably breathing too frequently. You're probably breathing too shallowly up in your chest. This is called a thoracic or a clavicle breath, because you're using your clavicle, your collarbones, and your thorax. So you breathe like this. You may well be using your mouth as well. And even if you're a nose breather, at night, you may well be using your mouth a lot. All this does is it basically means that you have a poor exchange of gases in your blood. It can increase things that we feel from social anxiety, like brain fog, lack of concentration, and that kind of thing, dizziness. And it can all feed into the anxiety cycle. So what you really want to do to reverse that, and which is laid out in this book, is learn to breathe less and learn to breathe more lightly. So you can do this by focusing on your exhalation. And the exhalation is extremely important because it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your calm, your rest and digest mechanism, rather than your fight and flight. Learn to slow down your breathing, lighten your breathing, and lengthen your exhalation. Like that. So by putting more of an emphasis on the exhalation, you calm yourself down. I already feel calmer. I wear a fitness tracker and I can actually see that my heart rate goes down when I exhale like that. So focus on your exhalation, start to breathe less, breathe lighter. And ideally, you can also try taping your mouth up at night using some micropore tape. And I do this, I've done this for years now. I tape my mouth at night. Using my fitness tracker, I can also track how many breaths I'm taking per minute at night, which is very helpful. So it's great if you're breathing very slowly and deeply through the day, but it's not really helpful if you then fall asleep, start mouth breathing and breathe really rapidly, because you're just going to lose a lot of CO2. And your heart rate's going to speed up, and you're going to continue building that mechanism whereby you're too sensitive to CO2. So work on your exhalation. You can also do things like breathe in, breathe out, and then hold your breath. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 10 seconds. Then breathe in. Try doing that. All of these things actually that he outlines in the book, they're basically scientifically reinvented versions of ancient pranayama techniques from ancient India, which are breath control techniques. And people in India found out hundreds and thousands of years ago that by holding the breath on the out breath, you can increase the CO2 that builds up in your body, and it creates a relaxation. And that's another thing I wanted to highlight for you social anxiety sufferers, is that learning to hold your breath can have a very relaxing effect. It's actually scientifically proven to be a muscle relaxant. So what this book is all about, and what I'm trying to get across to you in this video, is the importance of actually not being hooked on this addiction to over breathing and over oxygenation, and actually to build up your tolerance to CO2, because CO2 is not just a waste gas which you have to get rid of and get fresh oxygen in. Our bodies are already saturated between 95% and 100% with oxygen. It's not a matter of needing more oxygen. We never need more oxygen, basically. And if you buy a pulse oximeter, which is something, a little contraption you can put on your finger, which I also have, it shows that your oxygen levels are always very high in your body. What you need to do is to actually breathe less. It increases the concentration of carbon dioxide in your body, and that actually allows the blood which is in your blood, the oxygen which is in your bloodstream, to actually be released. So it improves your oxygen uptake in the body. For all social anxiety sufferers, I would say this is really worth checking out. It has a strong scientific bias and is in some places is kind of geared towards endurance sports and sports generally, but that need not put you off at all. It also applies to your average man on the street and to your average social anxiety sufferer. The author, Patrick McKeown himself, used to have chronic asthma, chronic rhinitis, where he was just breathing through his mouth because his nose was always blocked. He got deeply into this. He wanted to fix himself. He studied something called the Buteyko technique, which is a technique devised by a Ukrainian scientist from the Soviet days. And what he's done is basically taken a lot of stuff that he learned from that as a Buteyko instructor, and he's kind of rehashed it or improved it and delivered it in the book in the form of the Oxygen Advantage method. So I would highly, highly recommend going out and picking up a copy of this as soon as you can. If you're on the fence, you can also go to Patrick McKeown Oxygen Advantage YouTube site. He's got loads of good breathing techniques there. But as I say, the basic principle is basically stop over breathing, get off your addiction to too much inhalation, build up your CO2 tolerance, and that is going to give you more relaxation, more oxygen uptake in the body, a clearer brain, better thinking, less brain fog, sharper concentration, more mental acuity, and generally feeling a lot better. And really, one of the most important things is that it can just really start to alleviate some of those symptoms of anxiety by breathing slowly and deeply and using your diaphragm to do that. So that's all I wanted to bring you in this video. Check out the Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown. I give it 6 stars out of 5. This is already the second hard copy that I've got. I gave one to my dad. He lost it because I had already finished reading it. I've got it on Kindle. I bought this one again, and it's just helping me in all areas of my life training, my sports training, and just improving my well-being generally. So definitely check that out. Please also subscribe to the channel as always, because it helps us help more people with social anxiety, and leave your comments below because I'd love to hear from you. So thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.